Hello everyone and welcome to another watercolor tutorial. It's like the 16th time I've said that in the last 3 days because I am on a tutorial roll here. So we're going to be painting a tree trunk that is kind of rotting. This is inspired by, so many people paint gorgeous tree trunks, but this one is by Jenny Illustrations. So what I'm doing is mixing brown with black, as I usually do, to achieve the kind of brown that I want for tree trunks. Technically you could sketch this out, but I'm gonna just free for all it and hope that it turns out. So I'm starting on one side of the tree trunk and I'm going to have it kind of come down like this, and then it'll go back up, and this part's going to be like open and darker. Whoa, this totally is way wider than I thought it was going to be. And then I'm gonna have part of it coming down like this, and that's still gonna be really, really dark. So you're basically painting, what does this look like? A T with droopy sides. That's what I'm gonna call this. And I'm gonna take some green and I'm gonna join the green. It's kind of like a lime green. This is supposed to be moss. And I'm gonna have that moss come out. And take another green and kind of join that together there, and like we can modify this heavily later on, but right now I just want to get the base down because right now it doesn't look much like anything, but trust the process, people. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm trying to trust the process. So, and it's kind of hard for me to describe verbally what I'm doing because I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. So just try to mimic the general shape of what I am painting. It doesn't even have to be mimicked. You could totally just figure it out. Like have your own tree trunk shape and just follow the general color scheme here. Just going back to brown here to connect these. All right, my heart is screaming out. No, this is not exactly going how I thought it was gonna go, but trust the process. So I'm adding a little bit of black, but it should have been green. I'm gonna just quickly switch to green. Green with black maybe, just to darken these areas. Also up here and up here. Why does this look so bad? Taking brown. Okay, that is way too warm of a brown. And we're gonna join that there. So typically these things work out for me, but I don't know how this is gonna happen. This is very rough. And we're gonna add some details later, like little grassy features and whatnot, so it's not gonna be like this uber flat surface, hopefully. I just keep piling on different colors and hoping that it ends up looking nice in the end. I don't even know if you can see the shading in this thing because it kind of turned into a giant blob of darkness. So I'm going to try and lighten it a bit up here and have the moss kind of crawling upwards. Same with here. So I've got a general shape going now, and I kind of wish it was a bit lighter and more gray, not so much brown. I think that's my main issue, is that I made this ultra brown, which makes it look a bit orange. So I'm gonna bring in some gray here. I don't know if that did anything. I feel like I should just let this dry and then continue on, because right now I just keep adding more and more and it's not doing very much. But before I do, I'm gonna just take like a green mixed with a black, so it's quite dark. I'm just redoing those patches I did earlier because they ended up getting mixed in and not really achieving the look I wanted. And I'm adding, like, I want this to be dark, so there's a bit of shadow going on there, and this is supposed to be shadowy, and then there will be grass there or something. And then a shadow back here. And I am gonna let this dry, and then I will add more onto it when it's dry. So this should be dry. We've got ourselves a bit of a blob. I'm gonna switch to like a liner brush almost. I'm gonna take black. I don't want black. I want maybe more of a gray with black. And we're gonna try and make this tree trunk actually look like a tree trunk by adding those veiny, hollowed out details and whatnot. So what I'm doing is just running these very thin, or as thin as I can, hairlines that are unevenly spaced down the tree trunk with interruptions, like these blobs of interruptions, which are, you know, like the uneven, it's supposed to represent the uneven bark texture. that is the intention here. And they'll get darker, like they'll turn into more black as we get further into the darker spaces of our trunk. So like here they should be black on this side because it's just a lot darker on this side. And I want more of those like empty voids on this side as well. And what we'll do to kind of bring out these trunk veins or whatever you want to call them, the texture, is we'll add a bit of white. So you can use acrylic paint. My watercolor is very opaque, so I'm just going to use white watercolor. And we want these again to be hairline thin. Just keep that in mind. As thin as possible. Oops, that's certainly not. That is not as thin as possible. Yikes, what have I done? I have too much water on my brush, that's why this is happening. So I don't know how much of that did, but it's actually starting to look a little bit more like a tree trunk and not just a blob. One thing I want to also do is darken, because this, I don't know how to explain this, but this is supposed to be much darker because it's supposed to be kind of like a hole in the trunk. So I'm just adding some black in there to make it appear that way. And I'm also going to grab some white to define that. Like so. It'd be fun if there was like a gnome popping out of here or something like that. I really like, looking at this now, I really like those veins. It really makes, and those little like voids, really makes it come together and look a little bit more realistic than it was looking before. So now I'm going to move on to adding a little bit more greenery to this thing because we focused on the trunk, but now I'm going to have like little leaves and vines growing off of this. So take whatever green you have on hand and just do whatever you like. So I'm going to paint little viney leaves coming off on various sides. I'm going to maybe zoom in a little bit closer. And so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. But I'll have like a little guy coming off there. Also, I want to make this a bit more grassy, so I have another little patch down here. So I'm just using my grabby liner brush for this. It's probably linked in the description if you're interested. I have really taken to these brushes in all of like several months worth of the last tutorials. I love them. I had trouble getting used to them at the beginning, and if you remember, like, I was not happy with them, but I gave them more of a shot, and I'm so happy that I stuck with them because they just offer kind of versatility that I wasn't familiar with before. I didn't have experience with the bristle lack of tension, if I could put it that way. I was used to a much more stiff brush, but these, I really, really like these. Okay, maybe some more vines or something. On this side. So, I mean, you can keep going with this for a long time. You don't have to stop where I'm stopping or even go as far as I'm going. Like, just do what works for you. I am going to add, I'm going to take silver because I have metallic colors in this palette too, which is really neat. And I'm going to add some silver grass strands as well. Sometimes I struggle with having the right amount of moisture on my paintbrush. The silver really brought out those details there. I'm glad I did that. So let's see, what does this look like? There's something missing for me, and I mean, that's usual. I always say that. There's something missing in this painting. Maybe we can paint some silver vines as well. Maybe one more. I don't want to overdo it. The fear of overdoing it, because I do that so often. I think I'm going to stop there. There is still something missing here, but I'm just gonna stop because I like how this looks. You know, it would be nice if there was a little pop of color, like a little red mushroom growing. So naturally, I'm not gonna stop there. I think I say that in half of my tutorials, like, all right, we're all done. And then, oh no, just one more thing. So I'm gonna take red and add a little mushroom growing there. I wanted to add a second one, but I'm just nervous. There, the one little mushroom. And I mean, you totally could add white acrylic dots or white watercolor dots on this guy. I just added one giant blob, so let me fix that. I don't feel like waiting, so I'm just gonna leave that. That one little mushroom is fine on our tree trunk. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.